we get upset about the person that's driving in front of us. We wish they would, go a little faster. We wish they'd put their blinker on. We wish we would have gone to this college instead of that one. We spend a lot of time wishing things didn't happen. And so faith is a lot of things. Again, as Reverend Tia Atkins just told us in the Divine Science Principles, what it says about faith in the Hebrew Scriptures. In this message, we're going to discuss faith as gratitude for reality. Because, for example, if there's a car accident that occurs in front of you and you want to be of assistance, well, if you can't handle the sight of blood, you're not going to be able to be of much assistance, are you? Sometimes we just have to, we're not saying that everything that happens is going to be pleasant. We're saying that we need to be able to handle it and break it down. And we're going to break it down today. Sometimes it's very helpful to step back and get a decent perspective, because we all get lost in not only the everyday, but the minute-to-minute stuff that's going on in our lives. There's always something that's going to be going on. Relationships, right? Finance, work, politics, always something. And every time I come before you, I am going to talk about the fact that there is way more going on than we have any idea about. Okay, because the only thing we have an idea about is what is going on in front of our consciousness at this moment. Okay, otherwise we know nothing about it. You have no idea what's going on in Fulton, Missouri right now, or on Jupiter, or on a galaxy far, far away. So when we think about that, we know that 99.999999% of what's going on we don't know anything about. And we can't handle the minuscule amount, the tiny amount that comes into our consciousness. Do we first of all see how small it is, the things that come into our consciousness? We, as a part of our human ego, we feel like what is coming into our consciousness is more important, like we give it more weight to what's going on in Liberia or in, Budapest, or, it's just, there's nothing more important than, just because it's happening in front of you. Because if you went to Budapest tomorrow, then the things that are over there becomes really important to you. So we just have to take a moment and just expand our worldview. Like I said, I'm always going to invite us to expand our frame of reference from just ourselves, our family, our community, our city, our state, our race, country, our planet. We want to expand it to the entire universe. Because when we get perspective and step back, we just want to realize that all the time. That I'm just experiencing a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what's going on. It's so tiny you can't even call it a fraction. Okay? But what do we do with it? We can't handle it. We get intense. We get upset. We get anxious. We get judgmental. We get angry. We get needy. We get whatever. There's always something going on that makes us a little weird, right? And what is it? What do I mean by weird? It means I can't handle what's going on. Like, I've fallen in love with you, and I want to be with you, and I can't be with you. So it makes me freaky. I can't stand you anymore. I don't want to come home. And I'm stressed out having to come home because you're there. I'm freaky. We're caught all up in ourselves. But the reality is moments are unfolding before us. They have been for the past 13.8 billion years. All over the universe, there are things happening. But we have this idea that we are the center of the universe. Don't we? Let's be honest. Okay? And I submit that is what is tripping us up, because we're so focused on our individual selves. That's the source of our heartache and our pain. And I have to say this, a kind of aside. Some people experience FOMO, fear of missing out, And I'm one of those people. You get kind of anxious. You're like, oh, I don't want to miss a particular party, or I don't want to miss this girl's trip because I'm going to miss out. But it's like, you think about it, you're actually missing out on a ton of stuff. So you can actually chill a little bit. And I'll say this to myself, okay? Because when I think about that, that has been curing me of my FOMO. So what happens in this moment unfolds in front of you. That's reality. Because then we'll see that as human individuals, we are smaller than ants. I don't know about you, but keeping that reality that we are ants in the forefront of my mind is really liberating for me, because it helps me not take things to heart so much, not take things so personally. We take things entirely too seriously for the fact that we are smaller than ants. We've seen the facts that we are ants for ourselves. We live in St. Louis, right? How many of us have taken the elevator to the tippy top of the Gateway Arch? Okay, a few of us. Okay. It's been a couple of decades since I have, but if I think way back in my memory, I recall looking down and seeing what? Ants. Do you recall that? So we can sit here and think, Falomi, you crazy right now. But I'll do you one better. How many of us ever left this great metropolis and flew somewhere far away? Got in a bird, steel bird, and flew. Okay. So you're way up in the air, and when you look down, you don't even see humans. You see just green and brown shapes, mostly brown. And so it's similar to me. I think of it as looking at a patch of grass and seeing a mound of dirt. You think, oh, that's just a mound of dirt. But no, underneath or inside of that dirt is an entire ant colony that you don't see. An entire ecosystem of ants living their lives, having conversations, laughing, working, enjoying their families. But when you and I look down, all we see is dirt. So just like we see or we don't see humans from the perspective of an airplane. So, and when I say all this, again, I'm not trying to say that everything that comes in is going to be pleasant. Everything has its nature, right? Like a butterfly is so sweet, it lands on you. Oh, you say, oh, if you like insects. If you don't, you might freak out. But it's a soft, gentle touch, as opposed to a rattlesnake, right? A rattlesnake has its nature and it's saying, stay away from me. It wants you to be afraid for, a reason. So when we experience things that may be adverse to what we would desire, that still has its purpose. It's going to grow us in some way. It's going to work in the greater scheme of things in some way that we don't know. But we can rest in the fact that this is just our human shell. Reality is, moment is folding in front of us, and our senses are picking them up. Our senses are picking them up and bringing them back to our consciousness that's in the inside of us. The consciousness on the inside that is on the inside of all of us. So really, it's not touching the true us. Okay. Another example of, we don't have to be focused on, how about this? I would like for you to turn to your neighbor, give them a nice head nod, and say, what up, Aunt? What up, Aunt? Maybe we should try to greet each other that way. So we don't remember to take things less, personally, less seriously. Because our preferences don't hold nearly as much weight as we think. Okay, if you think like that, it leaves you lighter. It leaves room to be here now, like Reverend Tia said, now in each present moment, to fully experience it without being wrapped up in your mind and your preferences. I was speaking to my father the other day. Hi, Daddy. And he said he doesn't let people dump on him. When people have issues and all that, and they come to you with it, we like to be a listening ear, and we can see what we can do to help and assist. But beyond, if we can't do anything to assist, or we've done what we can, after that, we have to let it go, because God is on the inside of us, and God is also on the inside of them, and God is going to work it out, okay? Because your puny little human self, you're not going to solve all the problems. So you don't have to take on that worry. And I always appreciate my father because he gave me a lot of my spiritual foundation. And so one thing, because we don't have to be so focused on ourselves. An incident happened last week, and I can't say it's an incident, but just an example of this. My baby girl was playing the piano downstairs in the basement, and I love when she plays the piano. I don't think of it as noise, but some people do. And when the child is playing the instrument, they don't really know how to play it, and I just enjoy the sound of them trying. But Reverend Tumpe does not really enjoy that. And so she was like, Jael, aren't you going to go paint the Easter eggs? And, there's a part, I was like, oh, you making my child get off the piano. But that's just my preference, you know what I mean? And that's no problem. That's not something, because I can see sometimes people may carry a grudge or, be a little annoyed with that for longer than they needed to. But it's just I let it roll off my back. I'm like, oh, okay, well, she'll go do that. Things will work out. If it's not your preference, it's going to work out anyway. I'm not really sure. That's just a mild little example, but I just like us to keep that in the forefront of our mind, because sometimes we're really focused on what it is that we want, and we get upset and hold on to that grudge. And it's all about, so again, I like to take a moment and just let us think about it, because again, like I said, everything is not going to be pleasant. Let's take a minute and think. What is the last thing that you remember coming into your consciousness and just you not appreciating? Okay. It's about what we want to identify with. You're completely empowered to choose what you want to identify with. Do you want to identify with the human part of you that's smaller than an ant, or do you want to identify with the part of you that comprises or makes up the entire universe? What did we talk about the last time I was up here? You want to be the pinky toe, you want to use your pinky toe, or you want to use your entire body? That is the question of the day, right? Ants, they can lift up to 10 to 50 times their weight. But that's still nothing when it comes to the entire universe. Let's look at the scripture from let's see. All things have been entrusted and delivered to me by my Father. And no one fully knows and accurately understands the Son except the Father. And no one fully knows and accurately understands the Father except the Son. And anyone to whom the Son deliberately wills to make him known. Okay? So what does that mean? It means no one can, unless we merge back with our source, then we're not going to fully come into ourselves. We have to, what we said, die to be reborn. Okay? And dying to be reborn means we have to shed our humanness, our individual preferences. We said, not my will, but thy will be done. Okay? And it continues, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden and overburdened, and I will cause you to rest. I will ease and relieve and refresh your souls. Okay? That's going back to what we said earlier. You do not have to take on all of the world's troubles, as Reverend Tumpe mentioned earlier. You don't have to take that on. Because know that that is being taken care of. You do what you can. Again, we're not saying you don't live in the world. We have what they call dharma in Eastern traditions. And that means whatever reality is unfolding in front of us, when it comes in front of us, we say, hey, is there something I need to do to help this moment in front of me? And then you can do that. You do what you need to do. Yes, we have to go to work. Yes, we have to pay our bills. We do live in the world, but we take pride in executing the things that we need to do in order to just keep life flowing in the way that it will. And like I said, things are going to happen that we don't like sometimes, and that's okay. And because there's yin and yang. There's going to be good times. There's going to be bad times. And we know that we don't need to be overburdened because we don't have to identify with our human self. It continues. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am gentle, I am meek, I am humble in heart, and you will find rest. Okay? Relief and ease and refreshment and recreation and blessed quiet for your souls. What does that mean? Take my yoke upon you. That means identify with me. Identify with me and learn, seek, continue to seek understanding of who it is that I am, because that's who you truly, truly are. For my yoke is wholesome. It is useful. It is good. It is not harsh. Okay? It is Dr. Howard Denson always talks about the fact that, we're here to say that God is a loving God. God is not this mean, nasty, you're going to burn in hell for eternity. No. God is not harsh, hard, sharp, or pressing, but comfortable, gracious, and pleasant. And my burden is light and easy to be borne. Okay? So as we contemplate on that scripture, we just understand that, yes, every time it's up to God and God within us as we do what we can. And after that, we can let it go. And that's how we close out. And I'm going to lead us in a meditation so that we can remember that we are fully empowered to have faith and gratitude for reality. Faith and gratitude for reality as we close. And I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And breathe out. Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. Take a deep breath in and take on the yoke of an empowered being. What does that mean? A being that knows, is fully empowered in its divinity. And breathe out all the troubles and worries of the human self of the world. And take a deep breath in. And breathe out. And we want to keep that in mind and contemplate on that for the rest of the day, the rest of the week and month, and all the days to come. Thank you.